Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions 4 p.m. BST on a Thursday afternoon. We are officially in lockdown in the UK, lockdown number 2, but we're going to just get on with it. So I'm glad to introduce today. Stephen's with me today, and so is Meghla. Meghla, you go first. Can you do an introduction and a bit background on yourself, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Meghla. I'm based in Singapore. I've been in the sourcing industry for over 20 years. I also run a sourcing trip to India for Amazon and e-commerce sellers, India sourcing trip, and I also run Virtual India Sourcing Show, which is a monthly live sourcing show where we bring on Indian manufacturers in live webinars. That's
Excellent.
me.
Excellent. Stephen, and to you?
Hi, my name's Stephen. I'm in Seattle, and I have been I started selling to retailers in 2001, started sourcing and selling products I developed in China in 2005. And I approach all of retail. So I've had products in Amazon Marketplace or Seller Central, Amazon vendors, catalogs, large and small retailers all over the globe. And I've had products featured on the Today Show, Good Morning America, Fox Business News, Forbes, Paris Vogue, even given away in the gift bags at the Oscars. And I even had a product featured in Modern Dog magazine. Didn't even know there was such a magazine.
Excellent. That was a big jump, the Oscars to the Modern Dog magazine.
It went the other way, but some
Yeah.
people think it's better to go from the Oscars to Modern Dog.
Excellent. All right, so let's kick off with you first. I know that you're going to be on here for a short period. You've got another meeting to jump to. We're going to look at retail in 2021 first. Before Meghla and I are going to discuss this, not issues, but the disruption between China and India with raw materials and stuff like that. We'll get into that bit in a minute, Meghla. But kicking off with you, Stephen, what are some of your predictions, especially for Amazon sellers who are looking to move into retail? I know we're in the middle of COVID. We've seen there has been some good growth here in terms of e-commerce with everyone being forced online. There's the positive there. But there's also the other impact of we've seen major cities shut down, etc. Again, back here in the UK, we've only got stores that are open of not convenience. What's the word I'm looking for? Essential items are open. So a lot of the places are closed. So talk to me about what are some of your predictions that will benefit Amazon sellers in 2021 heading into retail?
Excellent. So I think number one thing is to approach everything with an eye towards opportunity, not to just being upset about what's not happening, but look at what is happening.
Yeah.
Here in the U.S., we faced a lot of complete shutdowns earlier in the spring, and then things started opening up again. And we may be following the steps of the UK eventually. We don't know. But retailers adapted to that, and that's critical. For example, 3/4 of the top 50 largest retailers in the U.S. now all offer curbside pickup. That's something that was unheard of before. And the way curbside pickup works is that they are forced to now have an online presence. The customer goes online, they look at what they want to have delivered, they go to the store and have it picked up. And that to Amazon is a threat, but to us, to people who are selling, that's an opportunity. It's a threat to Amazon because no longer is Amazon becoming the first and primary place that customers are looking to shop. They're looking to shop across the board. And to the stores, they're able to provide the products into the hands of the customers much less expensively than Amazon can because it doesn't cost them anything for shipping. So they literally walk it out the door. So it becomes Target in October announced that they increased their online activity by 700%. That's huge. Walmart, same sort of things and so on. So as sellers, what does that mean? It means start looking at opportunities outside of Amazon. Amazon saying, hey, we're limiting you to 200 units at the moment. Hopefully that will change. We hear things going on at Amazon, but if you're limited to 200 units, that doesn't mean you're only allowed to sell 200 units. It means you're only allowed to sell 200 units to Amazon, but you can have your own Shopify store. You can sell on Facebook. You can sell to, if you're in the US, you can go to walmart.com. And I know Meghla is going to talk about other ways of getting up to walmart.com. You can approach retailers, large and small, and say, hey, you're selling online. I can fulfill for you. It's equivalent to to drop shipping and the fact that you can fulfill from your 3PL to sales made across the board. That's opportunities. I see that growing very, very strongly in 2021.
Yeah.
We see that Walmart here in the U.S., Walmart is starting to change the interiors of some of their stores to be aligned with their online apps. All of the signage in the stores refers to their online app, and it's a pretty cool experience. They even have these large orange towers in some of the stores where if you order online, you go to the store, and it's a rather dramatic thing where your product comes down in this big orange tower and so on. So that's happening a lot. I think also we're going to see more and more online marketing, as strong as online marketing is today. Marketing is going to shift and change in 2021 because customer behavior has changed. So all of these are opportunities, and this has been a really, really bad time for many people. I know people who've lost their physical stores as well as their online stores, but it's also the time to be bold. This is the time to make strategies and changes.
Yeah, I think we're going back to the capping of inventory into Amazon, that's on new products, and I think the sands are shifting there. It might be a bit higher, depends on a few metrics there. And going back to the thing with the stores, like you said, it may be cheaper for Amazon. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? It's cheaper for the stores, you're saying, over Amazon, but don't discount the fact that if you're in a major city, the rents and stuff are sky high as well. So they've still got high rates there. But what's impressive if they've grown 700%, yeah, that's an incredible growth as well. So obviously there's an opportunity on both sides there. No one wants to completely get rid of retail, right? We know that the sands are shifting there, but no one wants to completely get rid of retail because at some point we've got to leave our house and get some vitamin D, right? So it's all well and good to have it sent to your house, but as humans, sitting in the house every day and have everything delivered to your door is not going to be good for your well-being over the long term when you're working under artificial lights and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely think there's an opportunity in retail, but just wondering how long it's going to take and what retailers will be left. I know the big ones, the Targets and stuff, will be able to hold their ground and they're increasing the online sales, but there's going to be, there may become a gulf where the smaller stores disappear because they just don't have the cash flow to survive when they keep being told to shut by the government. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting move there. So what else do you think, and what other predictions do you have for 2021?
Well, you just pointed out something really, really big, and it needs to be addressed, and that is that particularly in large cities, these stores are paying a lot for rent, or they own their real estate and they're losing money every month. But we've seen that in JCPenney, in Pier 1, in Sears, certainly in Kmart, that's been struggling for years, where the value of their real estate has become larger than the value of the income in their stores. Those are closing down. And then, of course, small stores, even anchor stores in malls are feeling that pressure. Many of those are closing down. Again, for us, we have to remember that it's the physical locations and the options for people to purchase that's closing down, not the number of customers. The customers are still out there.
Yeah.
They're feeling it. The customers are feeling it in their wallets, in their pocketbooks, in their comfort level and stability of their job. So we're probably going to see a decrease in discretionary spending. We can anticipate that certainly in the U.S. and as other governments try to inject money into the economy, we should keep our eyes on that over the next 6 to 8 months, because that allows us to recognize people will spend. This is not the first time that the world has gone through tough times and has come out. And you can look historically back as to types of things that they are purchasing and doing. And even though the governments want us to focus on essential goods, people tend to splurge a little bit in the things that make them feel good.
Yeah.
We came out of the Great Depression in the U.S. and we went right into the heyday of comedies in the movie industry. We came out of World War II and all the feel-good movies came back again. We came out of recessions just in the last 20, 30 years. We see that the things people purchase are what makes me smile, what makes me happy.
Yeah.
Um, those are things that we should be aware of. And I'm not saying change your product choice just to things that make people laugh, but be aware that if it's a feel good, and not only feeling good in the items, but as you said, people don't want to be inside their homes. I don't know if the rest of the world does it. We have we have a really strange a term here in the U.S. called retail therapy. But people will actually go with their friends and they'll go out to a store together and go shopping.
Well, you
That's
think
probably going to be
99%
needed
of the
more.
planet probably, they live for the weekend. They live from paycheck to paycheck. Their mindset, is that they they want those nice things. They want the nice house. They want the nice car. They've got, they work hard to get a good job. And so there's a lot of commercialism there. There's a focus on having the nice things as well. You brought up a good point as well, and going back, and I don't know the exact percentage, but Shopify had a massive uplift because when Amazon was doing essential goods only and people were searching on Amazon and couldn't find the products, they started to search off of Amazon. So Amazon had its best quarter in its history, but then online sales thrived elsewhere where they weren't available on Amazon because they weren't bringing in those stocks. There's a great opportunity there, which proves is that part of the population that still have a job, and you've got to look at the ones that were working from home or they were furloughed, as we call it in the UK. I'm not sure how you present that in the US. But people would have disposable income. Like in the UK, we had all of our windows done in our property, and the guy come back to do some snagging work. He said the window industry is up by over 1,000% since COVID because people weren't spending any money. They were sitting at home, so they were saving that money that they'd not spent at the bars, going out to restaurants and stuff like that, and that was investing that in home improvement. So there is a balance between these. There's the people that unfortunately lost their jobs, don't have the money, and there's the ones that are furloughed or still working from home who are unable to spend their money, but they still want to seek pleasure in some way, whether that's retail therapy, drinking, and things like that.
Absolutely. They agree 100% there. Absolutely.
Before we get into chatting with Meghla, is there anything you want to cover off before you go? Because I know you've got a meeting. It'd be good to just give us 3 predictions for next year, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, we are going to see an increase in the opportunities for people to sell when they're selling online.
Yeah.
Number two, the doom and gloom about large retailers, I think it's not going to be as terrible as people think. I just landed a retailer with 2,700 stores in the U.S. and this is literally over $1 million in sales we predict. And number 3 is to keep your eyes open for new opportunities.
Yeah.
Read the news, read the predictions, because as I said earlier, this is a time to be bold. This is the time for you to look at your strategies and grow. Take a chance. We've all had a time now to take a little bit of a breather. Now you're saying, okay, what's going to be new? What's going to be different? How is 2021 going to be my year to really knock it out of the park? That's the attitude to have.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's bring in Meghla. How are we doing? Good.
Doing good. Yeah.
All right. Let's cover the main topic here. So what we're going to be talking about, some of the disruption between India and China in terms of manufacturing materials and stuff. Do you want to give a bit of backstory to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what happened was a couple of months ago, there was this tension between India and China on the border. So India and China share a border, and there was some military action and all happening over there, and there were some political tensions. I'm not going to go into all of that.
Yeah, let's leave the politics out.
Yes,
yeah,
we'll leave the politics out. But what's happened is that has resulted in kind of a snowball effect, and it's affecting trade and industry in some ways. So there are a couple of different things that are happening. First of all, India is trying to bring in a lot of the production of various products within the country. So they're trying to limit imports from China. So they're taking some very bold moves, and some are very direct and some are indirect. So for example, they have restricted the imports of televisions from overseas, complete, fully produced or fully made televisions. They have to be imported as components or parts and then assembled in the country. Similarly, air conditioners, they have restrictions on the import of air conditioners. So all of this is to encourage domestic manufacturing of these products. And that is really happening now. I'm seeing, every day that we're looking for suppliers for this, that there are newer suppliers and industries coming up. And the other thing that's happening is India is, of course, importing a lot of raw materials and components for production from China. And in some cases, there's a shortage of these components or materials. And there is no blanket restriction on imports from China as such, but there are sort of these trade barriers that have been put in place. And also importers are hesitant to import in larger volumes because there's this sentiment in India nowadays, make in India, and they want to produce locally and source local products. So just to give you an example of how this might really affect an Amazon seller sourcing from India. So for example, myself, I was sourcing a product recently, and I wanted the product in a certain design, and it was supposed to be packaged in a pouch, a fabric pouch. And that pouch comes in various different colors and patterns, and I wanted a certain pattern. But the supplier told me that, hey, this pattern is not available because it's not coming from China and it's not available in the local wholesale market, but I've got this other pattern available. So here and there, you will see some items that are not available in the market for, whether it's materials. Similarly, there are things like, apparel is a big industry in India, but a lot of the components like zippers or buttons, those things are imported from China. So there may be some issues over there. It's not significant to affect exports in a large way as yet, but there are disruptions here and there that might cause you to think, and you might have to change your strategies a little bit. So I think that's sort of an overview of what's going on. And I wanted to also give a quick update on the COVID situation in India and how that's affecting manufacturing. So a couple of months ago, of course, there was a lockdown and everything just came to a standstill. But despite all of that, the number of cases have continued to increase in India. And what's happened now is that people have just come to terms with it. And, they've said, okay, we just have to live with this now, but we can't stop living our lives because of COVID. So people are actually going about their daily lives. They're going to office. There's no lockdown as such. There may be lockdowns in certain areas or certain cities where there is, a significant increase in the number of cases. But otherwise, everybody is going about their lives normally. Of course, there are, social distancing and masking and all of that is happening to the extent that it can. And then manufacturing is happening at full steam. I was really surprised to see this when I was talking to suppliers. They, in fact, was saying that some suppliers are running at full capacity and they're not taking in new orders because there's a backlog of orders that they have to fulfill. And there's increased demand, in fact, because I think globally also people are looking for alternatives to China. So yeah, manufacturing is, I would say 95% of manufacturing is up and running as of now.
Cool. And before we go and close the subject, let's talk quickly about next week. So we've got Global Sources Summit online. It's back again. What should we be expecting?
Yeah, so Global Sources Summit is going to be held over 3 days next week, 10th, 11th, 12th. And what's different about this summit is that it's going to be held entirely live. So there are no pre-recorded sessions. Everything's going to be live. And a lot of the sessions are going to be engaging, interactive. There are panel discussions. You're on one of the PPC, or you're moderating one of the PPC panel discussions. Yeah. And we're focusing a lot on 2021 and what sellers need to do to prepare for 2021. So we've got topics related to, as Stephen was saying, selling beyond Amazon is a big trend. Is going to be a big trend next year. So we've got people talking about how to sell on Walmart, Shopify, Facebook Marketplace, Reddit. Zach Franklin is going to be talking about how to sell on Reddit. And
he's been killing
Google
it
Shopping.
with Reddit. Yeah, with Reddit ads. He messaged me the other day. He's getting a lot of good. It's converting very, very well for him. I've done a lot of Reddit stuff in the past. I've never really made it work, but it's got to be the right type of thing. But he's really, really, really doing well with it. Let's go with the lineup. Who have we got on the lineup? I'm just going to pull up the actual globalsources.com podcast.com/summit is the URL for the podcast listeners on replay. I'm just pulling up now. Unless you got it in front of you, so there's no awkward silences while we're live.
Yeah, so we've got about 30 speakers, and of course you're there. We've got Chris Thomas, Amy Wee, CJ, Ritu from PPC Ninja, Tim Jordan is on one of the panel discussions, Anna Warren Gonzalez, Yuping Wang, I think from Sourcing Warriors. She's got a very popular YouTube channel and she talks about sourcing practices, but I haven't seen her on any other conferences, but I think her content is really good. So, and she's actually the vice president of sourcing in a big company, and she does this YouTube channel just as a hobby. So she's there.
Did we miss off here?
Smith.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got Tim Jordan, Yalka Belli, Peter Luxembourg. You've mentioned Rita, just think. Ellis, my partner, we'll be on one of the panels as well. We've got Margaret Jolly will be there as well. Bernie Thompson, I haven't seen him for a while. Sean Smith, like you mentioned. And, of course, a regular guest on the show, Sharon Evan, as well.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this panel discussion. So this is about, what's next in e-commerce. And so there's Sharon, Bernie, Tim, and Anthony from PickFu. They're going to be on this panel to talk about what's next.
And paid, free, what is it? What's the structure?
Yeah, before we go to that, I also want to mention that Steven Selikoff is doing a 6-hour China sourcing workshop that I think is very, people might find very useful. So he's basically going to be talking about the ins and outs of sourcing from China and sharing some strategies that he himself has learned. So I think that's going to be very useful. So it is a paid conference, and there are a couple of options. You can either attend the summit, that's for $45 US, or you can attend only the workshop, that's $145. Or you can attend both, and that's $170.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Let's go to, we've got some comments here. I forgot this week to read out the comments. I wasn't paying attention. So Sharon says, hello, Meghla. Hi, Danny and Stephen. Yelchin says, hello, great guys. Alan says, hi, Danny, Meghla and Stephen. Thanks for your time as always. Saibi says, good afternoon from lockdown Somerset number 2. Look for the opportunity, quote, there's tons of it around us. Dave Stories here said, is shipping from India factories affected by the virus?
So shipping is not affected as such. I mean, products are going out and they are being shipped. Of course, air freight is affected. There are, the prices of air freight are really high. And there are backlogs at ports in some cases, so it may take longer for the ships to go out. But otherwise, things are moving. And what's also happening is that there is a shortage of containers because there's not a lot of containers coming from China to India. So there may be a shortage of containers in some ports. But there are delays, but apart from that, things are moving.
Cool. Okay, what's the best way to reach you?
The best way is to join my Facebook group. So search for Sourcing from India and join the Facebook group.
Sounds good. Guys, I'll be back here next Tuesday. Don't forget, in the chair, Isabella Hamilton, inspired with Belle. She has her own guests on a Monday. This is her residency, so make sure you check out what she's doing and show your love and support. For those of you who are back in lockdown number 2, we got this. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. Keep your head up, look after your family, and I'll see you back here next Tuesday.